This Polish Jewish man was trying to escape from the Nazi soldiers. He spent many days hiding in a deserted hospital, just with the leftover food and dirty water. The next day, German soldiers set fire to the entire hospital. He got scared and ran out of there immediately. Somehow he came out of the wall. When he saw the ruined city in front of him, he was shocked. Then he decided to hide somewhere in the ruins. In search of food, he started roaming around in broken houses, and fortunately, he found some food in the box. At night, when he was trying to open the box, suddenly the box fell off his hand. Then a German officer stood in front of him. The man couldn't say anything out of fear, but the officer asked, "What are you doing?" And then he asked, "What did you do before the war?" The man answered, "Honestly, I was just trying to open my food, and first I used to play the piano." The officer couldn't believe it. He said, "If you really used to play the piano, then play something on the piano in this room." As soon as the man started playing the piano, the officer kept listening, and finally, he became convinced. He was very impressed with his art. After this, the officer asked, "Where is your hiding place? And do you have food?" The officer left again, but instead of killing him, he decided to leave him alive. The man became very emotional. He felt that his end would come. A few days later, the officer came back again and brought food for him. He also got this news. The Red Army has reached the border. Germany is probably going to lose now. So the officer said, "Stay in this building for a few weeks and everything will be fine." After so many days, the man ate delicious food and thanked the officer from his heart. He promised himself that he would never forget the good of that officer. As the Soviet army pushed the German army out of Poland, the officer came for the last time. He left with a lot of food and a warm coat. The man was in shock. How can I repay his favor? But the officer just said this and left. He thanked God. A few days later, the man saw a car passing by in which the national anthem of Poland was playing. He understood that the country has become free. He went crazy with happiness, and he wanted to share this happiness with other people too. But then a woman shouted, "This is a Nazi soldier," because that man was wearing the same coat that the officer had given him. Polish soldiers rushed to catch him. The man shouted, "I am Polish." He immediately came down. He raised his hand and tried to explain that he was wearing that coat to save himself from the cold. Finally, the soldier believed. A few weeks later, the German soldiers were made prisoners of war and kept in a camp. There, a Jewish soldier saw those soldiers and started cursing them angrily. "How much you have done to us Jews." But then, that compassionate officer who had saved Piano Vadak came forward and asked that Jewish soldier, "Do you know that Piano Vadak who used to play in the radio station?" That man turned out to be Piano Vadak's friend. So the officer told his name and said, "Send my message to him. Try to get me out of this camp." When Piano Vadak heard this, he immediately went to the camp. But by then, all the prisoners of war had been shifted to another camp, and no one knew where that camp was. In the end, Piano Vadak started his life again with orchestra music in Warsaw, and that German officer was killed in the camp of the prisoners of war.